Plaintiff Ben Pullman was best friends with the defendant until they decided to get a place together. Ben claims while living together, he and the defendant got into a fist fight over a cigarette, and he's suing him today for breach of contract. Defendant David Bates admits that he and Ben got into a fight and that they'd both been drinking heavily when it occurred. But he says it started over the fact that Ben was bad-mouthing him as a father. David's countersuing for an electric bill.
Start with you.
All right, well, me and Dave met in 2005 in high school. We became best friends, stayed best friends pretty much up until now. 2014, we decided to move in together, but things didn't really work out. In February of this year, we ended up getting in a fist fight over a cigarette.
What is that about? Weed or a regular cigarette?
Well, David asked me for a cigarette. We had already not been getting along that day, so I refused, and things just sort of escalated from there. I'm a pretty passive person, so I just felt like I was on the defensive. We were coming home from my mom's house. We had both been drinking, kind of just bickering back and forth. So we got back to the apartment. The argument had reached kind of an aggressive point, so he was blocking me from getting inside the apartment, turned into a shouting match. My neighbor ended up having to come down and break us up, at which point I was able to get inside my apartment. And there in the kitchen, it escalated to a fist fight. I ended up with a black eye.
Y'all have something. You don't know whose leg y'all pulling. You tell me what happened, sir.
About the fight?
Yeah, he said you all fought over a cigarette.
As far as I can remember, the incident, we were drinking heavily that day. We were on our way home. I don't know where it came, like the cigarette came from, but all I remember, he said something in regards to me being a father. You know, I have a son. He said something along the lines of, you know, my ability to be a father.
That's not true.
And that is very true, and that's what resulted.
That's what got him slugged. All right. That makes more sense. Okay, although you shouldn't have done it, that makes more sense.
Your Honor, that's not how it happened at all.
You want to give me some background on your relationship?
Yeah, like you said, we met we in high school, you know, became really good friends. Ben's more the quiet type. You know, when Ben gets drunk, he's a lot more lively than what he is now. I remember him punching me hard, and I don't think he's ever hit nobody before, so.
As Dave said, we had both been drinking. Dave is more of a heavy drinker than I am.
You weed head.
No.
Tell the truth.
No, not at that time, no.
Not at that time. All right, now I'm not even suggesting that you look like one. I was just asking.
All right, so after we're in
So let's get away from that. Go ahead.
After we were in the fight, I had decided that I really just needed to get away from Dave, had to get out of the apartment. So by May, I'd already told Dave that I would be moving out.
Did you all make an agreement on what was owed? Because you're suing for $375 for a breach of contract.
In January 2014, when we moved in together, we signed a year lease. We were paying $650 in rent a month, and we split the utilities. I decided to move out in May. I gave my landlord my 30 days notice on June the 20th. David already moved a friend of his in to take my place, but he had been living there for 2 weeks come the 1st of July, so we made an agreement to split the rent 3 ways. So I had already moved out. I came back July the 3rd, gave Dave my $217 in rent, and 2 weeks later received a text message from my landlord saying we didn't pay the rent and he has to evict us. So I contacted Dave, said, I paid you the rent for July. What happened? Dave told me that he still hadn't received his check from his job. He couldn't pay the rent. He had to spend it on groceries and beer.
He told you beer. He actually mentioned the word beer.
Yes.
I had to spend some on beer.
Yes. So Me and his friend had both given him our portions of the rent, but rent was not paid. So reluctantly, I ended up having to pay $700, which was our rent plus a late fee. I gave Dave a call and told him, when we receive our deposit back, the $650, you should give me your half. Dave agreed, but as of now, that's the only payment I've received from him. Dave and me made an agreement that he would pay me twice in August. I have the text
All right,
messages
sir,
from him.
what about the payment to him for $375?
Like you said, I did blow that money that he
Why?
did give me. I don't remember why. I mean, but I did it with the intention that I was going to get my last paycheck from my previous employer.
And you didn't?
My previous employer decided to wait 4 weeks before he paid me. So that put me into a hole.
So you do admit to owing
I do admit to that, yes.
$375?
Yes, I
All
do
right.
owe.
What's your counterclaim for
I have a counterclaim
$329?
as far as the electric bill that me and him
How does he owe for an electric bill?
I feel he owes me, the electric bill was $657, you know, the final bill, divided by 2 is $328, so he owes.
You have the bill?
Yes, sir, right here.
Let's see it. You've asked him about it?
Honestly, I decided since I owed him that money and he owes me for the electric bill that, you know, we were even.
All right, he doesn't feel that way.
No.
No, Your Honor.
You tell me, why shouldn't you pay half of the electric bill?
Well, Your
he has
Honor, as I
given me?
said, we were splitting the utilities each month. So in June, my last month of actually living there, I had paid Dave for what he said we owed on the electric. The electric was in Dave's name the whole time we lived together, but Dave also owed on his previous apartment. So for all I know, I don't know if he was paying it or not. So any amount of that balance he may have still owed. I mean, I think that Dave's character is reflected in the fact that me and his friend who moved in both gave him $217 for the rent, but by the end of the month, the rent
And
wasn't
use it on
paid.
something else. Okay, you make a good point. All I have to go by is your words. Your word against his word. You've proven that you will take money and spend it on something other than what you were to spend it on.
That last month, yes, I did.
I know, so that's
But
why I
as far
believe
as my
him.
character is any other time, no.
All
Anytime
right,
he's
well,
handed me
that's
money for
enough. One
electric bill, I
time is
paid it.
enough, sir. One time. If you steal and the police take you in, you get convicted, they don't just let you go because you didn't do it again. They get you that time, and then it's on your record. So that record works against you today, and I'm going to believe him. Is your record clean?
Yes, Your Honor.
Huh?
Yes, Your Honor.
You something else. Judgment for the plaintiff. Your claim is dismissed, sir. You haven't proven it. Have a good day.
I thought that me and Dave were friends. At this point, I don't see how we can redeem that.
I mean, if he doesn't want to tell the truth, I don't want to be friends with a liar.